Welcome into Steelers Latest, your daily spot for all news and information related to your Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm your host, Cole Denis, and please like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content to stay up to date with everything Steelers. But let's begin as a wrap up of discussion about week 4 and the win over the Vikings. Let's talk about the biggest takeaways after 4 weeks of the season. We know gave an overview of the game yesterday. We know how the team performed. We executed great for 3 quarters, and then let's let it slip there late. What is the big takeaway for the Steelers? First off, very similar team to the past couple of years. The offense maybe a little more consistent for sure than previous 4 years. Very similar in comes of games. A team that's never going to run away with the game for sure, but also a team that will make all the splash plays necessary to come out with win every Sunday. If you look at the number of yards every week, feels like we're losing those games. It feels like we're gonna be getting ran over from week to week. But you look at the final box score, it's because of the splash plays the defense has consistently made over the past couple of weeks. Defense really finding its form to creating these splash plays. The first week, in the second week, interception, and the past couple of weeks, handful of sacks, handful of turnovers in back-to-back games. Love to see it. So the defense really started to rack up all the numbers, every category, and getting our young players like Benton, Harmon, and Herbig to step up one player move down, or even just Harmon. He's coming back in, and he's been done. It's only the past 2 weeks, filling in for binged up defensive line. So you love to see it from those young players in front. TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and we're a little rusty through 2 weeks. We've seemed to shaken off all that rust, and we're now looking at like we're back in all pro form, which is very nice for us. And the final takeaway from this game, week 4 against the Vikings, Gainwell might be the best running back on the roster. He was very effective on the ground, rotating and game the whole. He was also a variable in this game, always an option out of the backfield for Aaron Rodgers. I think he really impressed Steelers Nation in this game. Well, felt like we have a running back that was getting upfield, Kevin Warren runs getting upfield, but sometimes it feels like his vision is a little lackluster. And well, seemed to draw all that together. So that he was able to get his vision down, finding and locating the hole, and then when he did, he hit the hole, I did the hole hard, and was able to get 99 rush yards, almost surpassing that 100-yard mark. Let's talk about some of the injuries. This doubling game now. Jalen Ramsey and Calvin Austin both suffering an injury. But very tough, very brutal. Two key pieces to the defense and offensive side of the ball. Ramsey suffered a hamstring injury. They're saying he's likely going to miss a couple of games. Austin suffered a shoulder injury that's left him hospitalized. And for my these are two massive injuries, and I'll say Austin with something on the team in receiving yards and has had two big receiving touchdowns, two game-winning receiving touchdowns. Jalen Ramsey has probably been the most consistent piece of this defense through 4 weeks. Let's take a look at some backup options who is going to step up in replacement for these two as we miss our two stars. First off, let's start on the defensive side of the ball because it's the easier side of the ball. But in the secondary, one of our positions we have on the roster is cornerback with Darius Slay and Brandon Eccles still being healthy and Porter returning here soon. Secondary will hopefully continue to build on these recent performances, even without Ramsey. I know we've still been allowing a lot of yards, but we've been very optimistic with turnovers. Balls getting tipped at the line. It seems like secondary players are coming down with the ball. We saw Elliott with an interception Sunday, and those against the Patriots. Also had an interception on a tipped pass in the red zone. So very optimistic about pip balls this secondary has been. And playing several hopefully step up outside, which is reasonable expectation. Porter's been one of the best corners in the league, in my opinion, since he's came into the league with the Steelers. Darius Slay also has been consistent his whole career. I know he's on the back part of his career, but hopefully he can hold it down outside while Ramsey is gone. Offensively at wide receiver, I believe the Steelers are going to go with Ben Skoranek. I would much prefer us get Roman Wilson finally out on the field. I think we need to give him more consistent reps so he can find consistency in his game. I think his game also more closely resembles Calvin Alston's game. He just hasn't been on the field enough, in my opinion, to find a good rhythm in his career. He hasn't been able to build on anything in his career. He was injured his whole rookie season. Now, through 4 weeks, it feels like he really hasn't been a part of any offensive scheme. I don't really know why, but love to see him get out there more just so he can start building on confidence and finding that good rhythm to get off to a strong start here in his career. Or fine. He'll just be able to just a good season. If he's not touching the field, he won't be able to produce good season. Get him on the field so we can at least know what we in our wide receiver draft pick from last year. I'll have to figure that out with the Steelers fan. Maybe you've already figured it out in the building, but let us fans know he is not the guy. Let's wrap up this today's show with maybe an outside option at receiver. We know I've been talking about Tyreek Hill for a while. He suffered a broken leg, so we're going to toss that option out the window. And back at Gabe Davis, I think it's definitely time we reconsider. I've reconsidered my thoughts on Gabe Davis since the Austin injury. I wasn't really the biggest fan of the idea of bringing in Gabe Davis for a while, but yeah, proving to be a consistent number two option for a team like the Bills. There was a clear number one with Stephon Diggs up there. I think he would be a great option get into the building just because we have lacked production from the receiver room, even with Calvin Austin. DK Metcalf has really been the only guy out wide for us. Feels like Calvin Austin shows up only really when it matters, but not going to complain about that, but he's gone now. So we got to find someone else to come up in those big moments. Gabe Davis has been a guy throughout his whole career, and you pair him with a guy, someone like Ethan Metcalf on the other side of him, I think he'll be able to flourish once again like he did in Buffalo. With that, has been it from Steelers Latest. I've been your host, Cole Dennis, and I'll see you tomorrow.